All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, ever since the fraudulent INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu announced Tinubu winner of the 2023 presidential election, Tinubu and Shettima have not spent a single day without battling the crisis of illegitimacy. It started by some foreign companies exiting Nigeria after Tinubu was sworn in on May 29. Then we began to observe the reactions of other African countries. A South African journalist said on a South African TV that ECOWAS was at its weakest ever since Tinubu was named ECOWAS chairman, and she said it was because of the crisis of illegitimacy surrounding Tinubu's government. Then we saw Kenyan and Zambian journalists call Tinubu illegitimate when he placed sanctions on Niger Republic after the junta General Tiani took over government from the civilian Bazoum. And since then, Tinubu and his cabinet members have been harassing journalists in Nigeria, trying to prevent them from saying the truth about the events of the 2023 elections and the subsequent failure of his administration. But they have failed because the whole world is now rejecting the Tinubu administration. Few hours ago, El-Rufai and his family began threatening Tinubu, calling him a drug lord nickname, following a rumor that Tinubu plans to arrest El-Rufai. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that disgraceful update all the way from North America began making the rounds. Tinubu government has received another global humiliation all the way from Canada. The crisis of illegitimacy, the corruption, and all the human rights abuses of this government have come out to once again haunt them at the global stage. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. Finally, just finally, one lawmaker with a brain has stepped up to speak against the creation of additional 31 states in Nigeria. See the video.
But as a lawmaker that I am, the fact is very straight. For me, I'm against any creation of additional state for now. The reasons are very simple. I don't see need of creating more state when we're yet to manage the existing state that we're having. The situation we're having in this country now, for me, I felt we have so many issues that we need to channel our energy and our strength to in order to salvage the nation than creating more state to add more wage bill to the nation when we have a lot of issues that we need to look at as a country. Why are we talking of more states? Have we finished managing the 36 states that we're having now? When many states, we have high rate of unemployment in the country, we have high number of school dropouts, and a lot more. Talk of diseases, talk of infrastructural decay, and so many issues. Why are we trying to add more government burden, more wage bill on the citizenry when we're yet to solve the existing issues? So for me, as a person, I felt creating more states, because if you create more states now, whether we like it or not, that is an invitation for more wage bill, because new government houses will be built, more governors will spring up, more legislatures will spring up, a lot of issues will come up. And I felt that is not necessary for now.
But proponents of it argue that it will, solve the problem of injustices in the states, that some people are left out, and some people are not carried along in the state. What do you say about these arguments? Well,
myself, as I speak, I'm coming from a state where we have over 50 ethnic groups. But first and foremost, let's look at it rationally. What is the definition of injustice? Yes, there are a lot of reasons, there are lots of things that have make people believe that there are signs of injustice, not even signs. Yes, there are injustices perpetrated in this nation, but that is not the yardstick for creation of more state. Instead, we should come to a round table to discuss and chart way forward. Let's talk about patriotism. We're all Nigerians. We have agreed to be one Nigeria. So if we have agreed to be one Nigeria, what are we talking about? Whether you are Igbo, you are Ngas, you are Yoruba, you are Hausa, Fulani, which whatsoever tribe, wheresoever you come from, as far as you're Nigerian. For me, I think we should channel our strength on preaching unity, treating each other as one entity than issue of creating more state. There's no state today, especially in some part of the country, there's no state today that will create that will still sort issue of injustice. In a family of husband, wife, and children, there's injustice.
All right.
Between two brothers, even twin brothers, there's injustice. So I think what we need to do now is to educate ourselves about morality, understanding what life is all about. And we should also remind ourselves that there's nothing in this life, whether we like it or not, we just have short period of time to enjoy, and when the times come, we join our ancestors. So let's everybody have an opportunity of being given opportunity to be fair and just. And I think that is where our concentration should be than all these petty arguments of creating more states, creating more local government. Have we finished managing the existing one?
You heard him. We don't need to create more states to stop the problem of injustice in this country. If you are talking about resources not spreading around well enough, then why can't you just ensure that resources spread around? What is the problem? Why are these resources not spreading around? It is because of greed and wickedness. And if you create more states, it is still these same greedy and wicked politicians that will man those states. They will still be the ones in charge of those states. So nothing will change. Create new states in this country today, and for the first 8 years, all you will be seeing will be buildings of massive structures for the elected officials of those states to enjoy. They will not even say anything about elevating the people of that state. All these arguments they are making now that governance should touch the people, you will not hear all those things again. What you will just be seeing will be building of massive structures. Why? Because we have a culture of corruption, and that culture will eat up any strategy that we devise to fix Nigeria. So it is kill corruption or corruption kills Nigeria. Just yesterday, the Inspector General of Police failed to account for 3,907 firearms, guns, mainly AK-47. What have they done with the guns is the big question now in the media. For over 24 hours now, that story has been flying around. We have not heard anything from Tinubu. We have not heard anything from Shettima. Now tell me, is it creation of states that will fix this kind of problem? You be the judge. Now, let us look at details of the top stories. First is that outburst from the son of El-Rufai, Bashir El-Rufai. He called Tinubu a drug lord nickname and warned against arresting his father, Nasir El-Rufai. And next is that massive disgrace that fell upon the Tinubu regime all the way from North America, Canada to be precise. This disgrace was so much that it got the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, ranting and crying online. Let's start by taking that update from Bashir El-Rufai. Look at how the papers reported it. Pablo Escobar will make biggest mistake if Tinubu's government arrests my father, says Bashir El-Rufai. Bashir El-Rufai, son of former governor Nasir El-Rufai, says Pablo Escobar, a reference to Bola Tinubu over his narcotics dealing case in the US, will be making his biggest mistake if the Nigerian government arrests his father. On Tuesday, Mr. El-Rufai, who fell out with Mr. Tinubu since he was nominated for ministerial appointment but was blocked by the Senate, alleged that National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu was plotting to arrest him. I have been hearing these same rumors of arrest, detention and torture in some dungeon in the NSA's office where Emefiele was allegedly tortured to resign as CBN governor since July 2024 when the so-called report of the Kaduna Assembly began circulating, Mr. El-Rufai said on X. Now the biggest mistake Pablo Escobar and his henchmen will make, the former governor's son responded shortly after his father's claim. Though Mr. El-Rufai's son did not mention Tinubu's name in his X post, several X users interpreted it as a subtle jab at Mr. Tinubu, who once forfeited $460,000 to the United States government in a cocaine-related racket in the 1990s. Pablo Escobar, a notorious Colombian drug lord, became a common mention in the Nigerian political sphere since Mr. Tinubu emerged in 2023, despite his link to to a cocaine-pushing scandal. An ex-user, Amagodu, tweeted, "For context, Pablo Escobar is one of history's most prolific drug traffickers. His drug empire popularized Colombia as a drug trafficking hub." Some shared screenshots and videos of Mr. El-Rufai and his son campaigning and canvassing support for Mr. Tinubu in 2023. Wow, interesting. So El-Rufai's son, Bashir El-Rufai, has now joined the group of those who refer to Tinubu as Pablo Escobar. Confusion in the camp of the enemy. I remember when El-Rufai and his son said it was Tinubu or nothing in 2023. Today, Bashir El-Rufai is calling Tinubu Pablo Escobar. I hope that this feud between Tinubu and Northern elders will continue to worsen so that the alliance can break totally, because it is one of the things that must happen for this country to know peace. Another Northern elder, Professor Usman Yusuf, speaking from detention because he was, arrested by the DSS and detained, he said, "I will never be silenced by Tinubu's dictatorial and autocratic leadership." And reacting to the attack on Tinubu by El-Rufai's son Bashir, Chris Blend here says, "Anything and anyone who destroys this evil government has my full support. The El-Rufai should fire on. Moreover, they are part of the people who founded this evil APC." And that is the same mindset I have. Anything that can tear the APC apart and that can tear the Tinubu regime apart, please let it continue to happen. And Mohammed O. Ismail here says, "The two camps should clash elbow to elbow. Let the ordinary people breathe fresh air." That is it. The northern and the southern parts of the APC must clash and disintegrate for this country to know peace. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that massive disgrace that fell upon the Tinubu administration from Canada began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu has condemned Canada for denying visas to Nigeria's top military officers, including Chief of Defense Staff Musa, calling it disrespectful. Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor NSA, has expressed displeasure at the Canadian Embassy for denying Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff, and other Army chiefs visas. Speaking in Abuja on Thursday at the maiden annual lecture of the National Association of the Institute for Security Studies, Ribadu said the North American country can go to hell. He was reacting to comments by the Chief of Defense Staff, who narrated how he and other top military officers were supposed to be in Canada for an official assignment on Wednesday, but were denied visas. Musa said the Canada event is about honoring war veterans. He said the denial is a clear reminder that the country must stand on its own, stand strong as a nation, and should no longer be taken for granted. Every disappointment is a blessing. Yesterday, I was meant to be in Canada. There is an event to honor our veterans, those that were injured during battles, and we were meant to be there, Musa said. We were invited with our team. Half has gone and half has been denied. It is very disappointing. Ribadu, who could not hide his displeasure, commended the CDS for speaking about the incident. "Thank you for the courage to say Canada denied you visas. They can go to hell," the National Security Advisor said. "Even though it is painful, it is disrespectful, but we are peaceful and strong, and I agree with you that it is time to fix our country. Yet, this is another reason we work hard to make Nigeria work." Ribadu, who praised the Chief of Defense Staff for providing purposeful leadership in the war against insecurity, he noted that all security agencies are collaborating across many parts of the country. You heard that. Now, I believe this is a global event. War veterans from all over the world were to meet in Canada to be honored, and the Chief of Defense Staff of Nigeria and other top military officers were denied visas. They were sent back, meaning they are not recognized as war veterans. What a shame. Now, some of them, I believe the junior officers, were given visas. But when it came to the topmost officers, they were denied. Ribadu himself would be denied a visa if he attempts to go to Canada today. You know, they will not announce to you. But many of them in that Tinubu cabinet, in fact, Tinubu himself, if not because of diplomatic rules, even Tinubu himself is not safe. And this is how it should be. And what does this tell you? It tells you that the whole world now knows everything that is going on in Nigeria. Remember the policeman that was denied asylum in Canada because a Canadian judge told him that once you are a policeman in Nigeria, you are already on the blacklist. You are already guilty of the crimes of extortion, of corruption, and bribery. He said because you are part of the corruption of that country. Now, the chief of defense staff and many top military officials were denied visas. And look at how Nigerians reacted to this update. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. Olamilekon here says, the world knows that many of you are scumbags, and that is what happens when you have a president who we all know that he forfeited proceeds of drug-related business. What a shame. A country ruled by conglomerates of criminals. This is just truth. The world has no regard for Nigeria anymore, courtesy of the men in Aso Rock. And Rinu here says, because you guys are war criminals committing brutality against your citizens, including dropping bombs in villages full of innocent people and calling it a mistake. That is why. This is one of their human rights abuses. And you do all these things, you think you can just walk into a country where there are sane people? No, it doesn't work that way. And AA here says, many countries have no regard to Nigeria anymore, fully aware that our president rigged his way into power with so many bad international reputation. We will only regain global respect when we start electing credible leaders. Until then, just relax and chill at Eco Atlantic. It is often said to resemble Canada. He said no need to say you want to travel out. Just go to Eco Atlantic and go and relax there, because you have been blacklisted by the whole world. And Rex here says, Nigerians should hang their heads in shame. It seems the majority are unaware of the serious implications of these news. And Ola Iwajuola, a Nigerian who lives in Canada, replied at Rex. He said, no implications. We don't want terrorists here in Canada. Those service chiefs are the biggest terrorists. Chai! And this tweet here says, how can you condemn a country over non-issuance of visa? Retaliate when you have the might. Army headquarters and Defense Nigeria want to go for veteran celebration when their veterans are hungry and financially abused. That is it. Your veterans are here in Nigeria, hungry and financially abused. You say you are going to Canada. And he had the effrontery to even say it. The other day, Northwest governors, had a meeting. They now went to London to discuss about security in the Northwest in London. Gathered themselves in London to discuss security situation of Northwest Nigeria. What kind of rubbish is this? And each time I hear this thing, I cannot but tell myself that it is the people that are allowing all these things to happen. It is the people. If the people can put their foot down and say enough is enough, I am telling you, we will be able to put an end to all these things within the twinkle of an eye, because it just does not make sense at all. But as long as we continue to accept it, as long as we continue to just talk about it and move on without revolting against this political class, we are never going to see the end of all this evil behavior and obnoxious utterances from them. Nigerians must know that for them to have a country at all in the near future, let alone a country that they can be proud of, for us to even have a country at all in the near future, we must come together, keep our sentiments aside, and unite to get the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away.